Attorney Bathan-lasco. This is my virtual classroom. Welcome to my YouTube channel. In this channel, I shall aim to simplify the law. I will discuss concepts and principles of law in under 10 minutes. Hi again, everyone. Welcome back to our virtual classroom. So what shall we talk about in this video? So in my other videos, if you have watched them, we have been talking about the creation of the corporation, how we create them, how they come into being. Now, for this video, I want to talk about corporations that were actually created. They have been issued a certificate of incorporation by your Securities and Exchange Commission. However, they were unable to formally organize after getting or securing the certificate of incorporation. In other words, they failed to use their corporate charter. So what would happen to them now? This is what we are going to talk about in this video. Section 21 of the Revised Corporation Code actually tells you what happens to corporations who failed to use their corporate charter. Let's read the first paragraph of Section 21. It states, if a corporation does not formally organize and commence its business within 5 years from the date of its incorporation, its certificate of incorporation shall be deemed revoked as of the day following the end of the 5-year period. So what does that tell you? It tells you that if a corporation, after having been given a personality by the state through the Securities and Exchange Commission, through the issuance of the Certificate of Incorporation, fails to formally organize and commence its business, then they will lose their right to them being a corporation. Because under the first paragraph, it tells you that the Certificate of Incorporation is revoked. Now, let's break this first paragraph into two parts. First, let's discuss what does it mean to formally organize or commence the business. And second, what does it mean when the certificate of incorporation is revoked? So let's discuss first the first part of the first paragraph, and that is the formal organization and commencement. So what does that mean when the corporation has to formally organize or commence its business? This would mean that the corporation has started doing something to get ready for transacting into business or transacting business itself. So how does the corporation do that? The corporation must file the bylaws with the Securities and Exchange Commission. They must have already elected their board of directors. They must have already established a principal office or principal place of business and any other activity that would enable the corporation to transact legitimate business or accomplish the purpose for which it was created. So if the corporation have not done any of these activities or things that would amount to formally organizing or commencing the business, then Paragraph 1 of Section 21 will tell you that the Certificate of Incorporation is deemed revoked. What does that mean when the Certificate of Incorporation gets revoked? It means now that the state is stripping the corporation from its personality. It is stripping the corporation from the powers that it was given when the Certificate of Incorporation was issued. So when is it considered revoked? It is considered revoked the day following the expiration of the 5-year period. 5-year period counting from when? From the time that the Certificate of Incorporation was issued. So, let's say ABC Corporation was issued a Certificate of Incorporation on January 15, 2020. Now, They were issued a certificate of incorporation, but they failed to do any activity that would formally organize or commence the business of the corporation. They did not elect their board of directors. They did nothing after the certificate of incorporation was issued, and they did so for 5 years. So in our example, if your ABC Corporation's certificate of incorporation was issued and dated on January 15, 2020, the 5-year period will end on January 14, 2025. And if from that period they did not do any activity, they did not enter into any transaction, or did not do anything to formally organize their business or commence their business, then your first paragraph of Section 21 will tell you that their certificate of incorporation is now revoked the day following the expiration of that 5-year period. As I've mentioned, they are now being stripped from the personality that was granted to them by the state through your Securities and Exchange Commission. Do they now become a de facto corporation? No, they're not even a de facto corporation, because then there is already no certificate of incorporation. If you have watched my other video on de facto corporations, I will put the link down below. You would have learned that for a de facto corporation to become one, you must have a certificate of incorporation. So, if you fail to use your charter because you failed to formally organize or commence the business 5 years from the time the certificate of incorporation was issued, then by law, your certificate of incorporation is revoked. As I've said, you are stripped of the personality of a corporation. You lose your corporate powers. However, the corporation may still be a corporation by estoppel for the protection of third persons. What is a corporation by estoppel? I have also discussed that in another video, and I will put the link down below or the link up there. Now, how about if the corporation was issued a certificate of incorporation, they were able to formally organize after that, but they became inoperative for 5 consecutive years? Will their certificate of incorporation also be revoked, just like the earlier scenario? The answer to that question is under the second paragraph of Section 21. Let's read the second paragraph. It states, however, if a corporation has commenced its business but subsequently becomes inoperative for a period of at least 5 consecutive years, the Commission may, after due notice and hearing, place the corporation under delinquent status. So unlike the first scenario, where the corporation failed to formally organize right after securing a certificate of incorporation, their certificate of incorporation is deemed revoked a day following the expiration of the 5-year period. In the second scenario, the corporation was able to organize, only that they became inoperative for at least 5 years. So what happens to them? Your revised corporation code says that your Securities and Exchange Commission will put them on delinquent status after due notice and hearing. Now, once they're on delinquent status, of course, they will now be called a delinquent corporation. If they want to continue with the operation of their business, then they have to comply with the requirements prescribed by the Commission. And that is the third paragraph of Section 21. It says, a delinquent corporation shall have a period of 2 years to resume operations and comply with all requirements that the Commission shall prescribe. Upon compliance by the corporation, the Commission shall issue an order lifting the delinquent status. Failure to comply with the requirements and resume operations within the period given by the Commission shall cause the revocation of the corporation. So, your revised corporation code gives the delinquent corporation or a corporation in a delinquent status 2 years within which to resume operations and to comply with all the requirements that the Securities and Exchange Commission will require of them. If they fail to comply within the 2-year period, then their certificate of incorporation will also be revoked. You have to remember that creating a corporation is a privilege granted to you by the state, and therefore you must ensure that you have substantially complied with all the requirements that are put forth by your Securities and Exchange Commission so that your corporate status will continue. Because if not, then your Securities and Exchange Commission is granted the power by the state to revoke your certificate of incorporation, just like in the scenarios we have discussed in this video. That is it for this video. I hope again you have learned from this video, and I will see you in the next. So if you find this video helpful, please click like, subscribe, and that notification bell so that you will be notified of new video uploads. Thank you for watching. See you next time in MBL Classroom.